New destination website, procure additional training should this be required, and purchase a domain name at a total cost of £6,595, with an annual fee of £300 applying thereafter. Or to continue the existing SLA with Visit Somerset at a cost of £4,600 for October 25 to September 26. This is Tilly's report, so I'm going to hand over to her to summarise.
Thank you, Chair. So the report is to decide whether to appoint supplier to build a new destination website for Taunton or continue with the current SLA with Visit Somerset. Taunton is currently featured on Visit Somerset's website, funded via a £4,000 service level agreement, which will rise to £4,600 in 2025-2026. The Visit Taunton site has been active since 2016, with around 56,000 page views in the past year. A new website is being considered due to the high hosting costs and the potential for enhanced features that this may bring. At the Community in Place meeting on the 19th of April 24, it was agreed to look into creating a new destination website for Taunton, with the main reason behind this decision being due to the hosting costs for Visit Taunton compared to a standalone website. So I'll just quickly go through a comparison of the suppliers that we were able to get quotes from for a standalone website. So supplier one came out at £12,725 with annual ongoing costs of £299 and without ticket integration, and £499 with ticket integration, and additional training and support costs of £420. Supplier two with a quote excluding VAT was £5,995, ongoing annual cost of £300 and £300 for 2 hours a month of training support, and supplier three gave us a quote of £5,760, annual ongoing cost of £840 and £60 per hour additional training and support costs. Based on this information, out of the external suppliers that we were able to get quotes for, supplier two is recommended due to the lowest overall cost, the experience they have with council projects, the strong client testimonials, and the commitment to sustainability that they have. The alignment with these suggestions for the corporate plan are priority one, a prosperous town, priority three, a engaged community, and priority four, a vibrant culture. And the key climate and ecological considerations of the website optimization with reduced energy use. Supplier two uses green energy in UK-based data centres, and the content and user experience will be streamlined to minimise environmental impact. The financial implications. So option one is to appoint supplier two. So this would be £6,595 in year one, and then £300 annually thereafter. Or option two is to continue the existing agreement with Visit Somerset, which would be £4,600 annually. It is noted here that there is longer term savings and control with option one. Resource implications is a cross-functional group will be required to guide development, and the business centre team will manage the site post-launch, and training would be provided to ensure a smooth transition. Key risks are the website may not be ready in time, so if we were to appoint a supplier, they may not be able to get the website ready in time for when our existing SLA with Visit Somerset would end. However, if we were to move forward this promptly, we may be able to fall back on an extension with the Visit Somerset website. Business centre funding uncertainty, so there may be an impact from the business centre decisions based on site management. There also is potential for loss of visibility, so communication strategy needs to be clear to promote the new site, based on us already having around 56,000 visitors a year to the current site. A full accessibility assessment will need to be done by the supplier for the new website, but both Visit Somerset and supplier two have considered accessibility in their platforms and their offers. The timeline, so if we were to move forward with appointing a supplier two, they could be appointed around the end of July with a website preview anticipated for mid-September and a launch for October 2025. The final recommendation is either to go for option 1, which is to appoint supplier 2, or option 2, which is to continue the SLA with Visit Somerset. Thank you.
Okay, lovely, thank you. So, Councillor Strass?
Yes, regarding Visit Somerset, does this take into account the enhancements to their website system? Because they're making it much more interactive. So this agreement with them, does that include the new arrangements?
I don't know, I'm afraid, but I will follow up.
We've just had a meeting with them. We did have a meeting just a week or so ago here in these offices.
Yes, I think this report was drafted for that meeting. However, I understand that Craig's phone was in that meeting, so just clarify with him now. And by the time we've answered the other questions, I should have
Thank you.
for you.
Councillor?
I'm not in favour of a new supplier. I'm in favour of continuing with Visit Somerset, Visit Taunton, because I think they have got a tourist strategy. I think they're working with the whole of Somerset, and I think that they are aware that Taunton needs more promotion. I think Giles Adams he loves Taunton, and he's a local chap, and I think he does a very good job, and he's very keen to promote whatever we give to him. He's also a member of our hospitality, leisure and tourism group, and he's very, very supportive of whatever we want to do. So it's actually, I think we need to liaise just more closely with Visit Taunton. I think they could potentially do a really, really good job for us, but I don't think we're actually using their services effectively enough. I mean, they share absolutely everything I send to them about arts and culture, and they're very scrupulous about it, and they're very enthusiastic about promoting Taunton, and I don't have any fault. I don't find any fault with them. And as Martin pointed out, they're kind of cutting edge, because they're doing lots of work with AI and interactive strategies. And Martin and I both went to a big conference there with them, and it was for the whole of Somerset, and we were I was very impressed by the progress they're making, the ideas that they have on promoting the area, and they are aware that Taunton is not being well promoted, but it's up to us to give them the information.
Thank you. Councillor Ellis?
I'm taking a slightly contrary view, because I don't think it's not just about a website. And if I want to, I've ended up having to do weekly arts and culture listings, because there's nowhere where all of the arts and culture events in Taunton are actually in one place where you can find all of that information together. Not on Visit Somerset, not on anything, anywhere. Literally, it does not exist. It is not rocket science. It just involves a couple of hours actual work. And the problem with all of these people who say, well, I'm going to do a what's on this, and we can advertise here, is they don't do the legwork. They just wait for people to send them information and then make it look nice or whatever. When actually the job is, you've got to round up the information. It's not rocket science exactly, but website is about so much more than this. This is not just about, yes, I think we definitely need a visit Taunton, something that is about Taunton. So I'm looking at, say, the Bournemouth tourist information website. So it's Bournemouth. It's telling me where I can stay, different places to stay. It's telling me all about the different things to do. It's got a what's on with all the cultural events. It's got everything. Taste the best of Bournemouth, everything. It's about Bournemouth. And then it says if I need help, I can talk to one of their helpful advisors. So it's more than just a website, it's all the information, and then you can actually talk to somebody who will help you plan what it is you want to do. I think the whole thing has to be integrated. So the visitor centre, and the staff there, the website, all has to be part of a destination marketing strategy for Taunton. We are a gateway to a lot of other amazing things, but it's got to start with Taunton. And this is the problem, is a lack of Taunton in Visit Somerset. We've got the Taunton pages, but I find them, I just does my head in actually a little bit. I'm just like, what am I looking at? Random bits and bobs, and you know, always there is an event, always a community event, whatever. And I'm just like, whoa, just does my head in. I just don't think it's doing the business, at least with this proposal. Depending on what happens with the visitor centre, we could have the chance of actually having a actual destination management strategy and delivery mechanism for Taunton. And it will have to link to other things, because, you know, because it's like, come to Taunton, explore all year round. There's amazing things to do in Taunton. And then you can also get on the bus and go to Minehead. You can do this. There's this wonderful thing here. This is how you get to Glastonbury. I'm not sure that Visit Somerset does that.
Well, I'm on the Visit Somerset website now myself, and they have an entire tab just to Taunton, and on it they had community events, and they're advertising the Taunton Thespians Midnight Summer's Night Stream, advertising the flower show, the Vintage Sting Rally. So they are doing this. I mean, that's what I'm just saying now as I go on the website. So, Councillor Stratford.
Well, we did have a very detailed meeting. Craig was at that meeting with Visit Somerset, and I had the distinct conclusion that came out of that was that they are actually making it much more interactive. They do get a lot of inquiries which involve Taunton, which come through to the Tourist Information Centre. If we want to do more with that site, we can. Some of it is for us to participate with them, to put the information in, but the mechanism is there. Yeah. And I think there are far more hits for Somerset coming through to Taunton as the county town than us just promoting ourselves on our own. Bournemouth is a very much bigger tourist centre than we are, and I really think that there's power in being a major part of the Visit Somerset site, from what I've heard from them so far.
I would agree. You know, I think sometimes if you're wanting to market the event or advertise the event, I think it is on the onus of the person who's organising the event to actually push that information forward. Even if it's push it to us and we push on to Visit Somerset. Councillor Ellis?
I almost feel this, I mean, this is just a recommendation to full council, isn't it? So full council gets to discuss this. Almost it's like, I think this needs to be differ, because I've got Giles Adam here to quiz him on this. I haven't got Craig here to quiz him on the linkage between a website and what we want to do with the visitor centre, because I think it's not just about a website, it's the whole destination marketing approach and strategy.
I agree, and that's what they are taking on board.
Yeah, but this, and it was never just about money, saying, oh, let's see if we can do it cheaper. It was about having more of a focus on.
I agree with you.
That's why we wanted our own website.
I remember when we first discussed it a year and a half ago, and we went back to the Visit Somerset because we realised what a monumental task it was to do this. And so, yes, we are having to go to find other suppliers who will charge us more. And so I'm inclined to still stick with Visit Somerset for the time being, and take on the responsibility of making sure we push out the stuff. But I mean, you know, looking at the site, we have our own tab for Taunton. Yeah, but you go onto the site, and then at the top it's like Taunton, Bath, and then you go.
Taunton's Bath Paste Traders is the first item on their website.
Yeah.
For the whole of Somerset.
Councillor Garth?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I mean, I think we should stick with Visit Somerset, Visit Taunton for continuity, but we need to really take control of that website. It's there for our use, and it's really up to us to use it effectively. You know, there's somebody who needs to kind of send them the stuff, and it needs to be somebody's responsibility to send them the stuff, you know. So
Visit Somerset to find out what's going on here and then putting on. It's for us to say, look, this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
there's a hell of a lot on Taunton, which is the key feature. Talking about all the Bath Place traders. It's talking about an islands is in there, Surridge Gallery, Rocket and Bird, Rivertone Story Trail. It's all there.
Okay, Councillor Ellis.
It's not all there, and it's bits and bobs. So it's great bits and bobs, but it's still bits and bobs, and it's not telling you. And I basically, if you're organising an event, sometimes you don't have. You're not going to remember. There's so many different people telling you, oh, put it on our website and da-da-da-da-da. There's umpteen of these damn things, and none of those people take responsibility for gathering the information. It is not difficult. If you get, it's work. It involves actually rolling up your sleeves and doing a bit of work. And it's in our interest to support, especially the smaller groups, putting on concerts and whatever it is, that we actually take it upon ourselves to help them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Don't deny that.
And the problem is for years and years, we've SWT wasted 10-15 grand on some whatever Somerset Western Taunton website. And again, the people just said they created the infrastructure.
That's
and
right.
they said people will upload their information, and they didn't, and they just sat back. You know, they took 15 grand and did all it was a facility you could add stuff, and people didn't, and it failed in its task.
Now, just to clarify, is this going to full council? No. So this is for us to decide tonight. Is this for, so if we went for supplier 2, how many years are we contracted in for? I don't know about definition, sure.
So apologies.
If we're going for supplier 2, how many years are we contracted in for?
I don't have that information. However, Craig Stone is just passing by, so he said he's happy to pop in. So he's happy to join. I would know that we have to send up as one of our subsequent reports, so it may be helpful to have him here, but.
And the recommendation, if you went for Visit Somerset, is that for a year? This is for a year, isn't it? We're not contracting it. We're not. If we went for option 2, continue the existing SLA, that's just for for October, so it's just for 1 more year.
12 months.
So I would suggest we went for option 2, and we'll come back in for discussion. We went for option 2. We went for option 1 to appoint supplier 2. We're probably committed for a few years, and I think we've got a chance here to go for option 2 to continue with the existing SLA for another year and really prove that we can pass information to it and improve and get it to a standard that you
Absolutely.
would want to see.
There is work to be done.
I think the money would be better spent on a content creator, somebody who actually creates the content to put on the website. The website's there. The other people who supply they just supply the website. You have to supply the content.
In which case we may as well.
What we need is a content creator, not a new website. We need someone to create the content of the website, somebody who's going to do exactly as Caroline said, Taunton, this Taunton hotels, what's on in Taunton, all that stuff. We need a content creator.
So I'm happy to propose recommendation 2, that we continue the existing SLA with Visit Somerset at a cost of 4,600 for October 2026. I propose to have a second.
I'll second that.
Thank you. All those in favour? Those against? That's passed 3-1. Right. We will now move to item 17, the marketing and engagement report, because the visitor centre is confidential and we will have it's got confidential finances in it, so we will have to wait till the cost excluded. So marketing and engagement. So we're to consider the proposed allocation of the marketing budget for the financial year 24-25. Members to consider delegating authority to the community and place manager to agree any proposed spend against the proposals as detailed within the report. And Craig has waited very patiently all the evening to give this report. So Craig.
Thank you, Chair. So yes, this is to outline how we can use that budget to promote services, projects and initiatives to increase awareness of the council's activities. The focus will be on balancing digital reach with inclusive and accessible communications to reach all sections of the community. So the budget allocation breakdown is 40% of the budget, which is roughly £3,900 to spend on social media boosting and adverts. This is to build upon the 1.8 million people reached in the last year. Sorry, I shouldn't say people reached, that's the amount of times it's appeared in someone's feed from our social feed. This level of visibility, it far exceeds what can be achieved through other methods, including our website, printed materials and public notice boards. And boosting posts and using adverts reaches an audience beyond our followers, but is still geographically limited to Taunton, and it will lead to further organic interactions in the future. And it also supports a potential launch of an Instagram channel to help us reach a younger audience in the future. A further 25% of the budget is proposed to be allocated to print materials. That's roughly £2,500. To cover posters and leaflets and adverts in the Gazette, areas like that. This will maintain inclusivity for those without digital access. We do have an aspiration for a universal mail out of the Peacock Post, but under this budget that wouldn't be viable. So I have quotes that are between £10,000 and £30,000. Further 15% of the budget, 1,500, will be used to support engagement activities. Part of this budget is to purchase a better consultation platform. Problem with Microsoft Forms, which we use at the moment, is it's abusable. So for one of the play park consultations we had recently, it's clear that lots of people, or at least one person, was filling in answering multiple times to get what result they wanted, and Forms doesn't allow us to prevent that. So we looked at alternatives. Citizen Space looks great, but that is the sort of Somerset Council use about £10,000 a year. There's a couple of other options that were similar price range, but we recommended Typeform because it allows us a custom URL as well, so we can put Taunton Town Council on there to add to legitimacy. This money can also be used for in-person events, such as Q&A sessions or town hall style meetings with our residents and interactive stall community events. We're also proposing a 10% allocation, £1,000 for experimental marketing in an effort to reach new audiences in different and creative ways. This could be micro influencer partnerships. It could be community pop-up style things. So I don't know, putting a chalkboard in our parks with allowing people to write down suggestions for us, or when we're at events such as Taunton Together, we could have a big photo frame that's got our branding on it with links to our socials, so people are taking pictures and then organically sharing our brand on their own certain feeds. And it could be projects with schools and youth groups to leverage their expertise and that different perspective. 5% of the budget, £500 for incentives. So basically swag to get people to come to our stalls when we're in like Armed Forces Day, and leaving 5% of that budget, £500 for contingency. So corporate plan alignment, it hits quite a few priorities. Number one, though, is priority 3, and engage community. It can improve awareness, civic pride, and create meaningful participation opportunities. But also prosperous towns, we support events and promoting these events, and priority 4, vibrant culture. So we promote community stories, events, and reach underrepresented audiences. As for climate and ecological impact, a digital first approach reduces the environmental impacts. We're not using paper, we're not using printing services, and where print is essential, quantities will be managed and recycled materials will be used wherever possible. And the in-person activities will avoid single-use plastics and favour reusable low-impact materials. Risks. So highlighted that potential reputational risk of spending all this money gives us greater public visibility and therefore greater scrutiny, but that can be mitigated by being proactive and continuing our positive approach to communications. The risk of digital exclusion with digital first strategy. If think it's what you've got to do in this modern age, but is going to definitely be balanced with print materials, those in-person events, and using our notice boards. Experimental marketing, by its very nature, is experimental. We don't know how well it's performed, but we can mitigate that by small scale testing and using insight and monitoring that performance before we roll it out any further. And if you were really sold on the idea of a mass mail out, unavoidable this year, so alternative outreach planned. And reputational risk of not enacting this report is it risks the council look like we don't do very much. So enacting the report mitigates this by ensuring we can be visible, telling our stories and making it clear what we're doing and why. Equality impacts, so potential impact on older generation disabled people due to the digital first strategy, but again, that is mitigated with not relying on that. It's just being our first port of call. And timescale, I think I put the wrong date in the original report. It is this financial year, not the last financial year.
Right, thank you very much. Great. I have to say I think it's very useful that we can consult with our residents, and I think we do need a good platform in which to do that. I'd like to, so I'm quite happy with the Survey Monkey. Are we having to decide which option you choose on that?
We recommended Typeform.
Platform.
Yes, let me find other form. So yeah, they are broadly similar in features, but the feedback from my team when trialing 3 versions was a preference for Typeform's design, usability, and overall experience. And it had the ability to put those custom URLs, so we can put Taunton Town Council in it rather than Survey Monkey and some random numbers and letters that can harm our credibility. And you know, if we put on a poster, people might be worrying where that's leading them to. And Typeform is a month-to-month contract, allowing us to test it, and if it doesn't work, we go to Survey Monkey, while Survey Monkey tied us in for a year.
You have to vote on that application. It's not appearing there, so so we just approve we approve the report, and then you're free to choose which one.
What we were going for. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, I would accept based on your recommendation there. Councillor Ellis?
Yeah, it sounds very sensible to go with Typeform. So you've got a mix of sort of marketing approaches, a heavy use of social media, and we're going to broaden that out to include Insta as well. And hit
an ambition.
That's
I mean, on capacity, but
yeah, I mean, I think it's, I mean, a lot of posts, when I post as me on Facebook, if I do it in a certain way, it just pops up on Insta anyway. I don't know if there's a facility, I don't know, maybe it's different with public
I can link with our systems. It's just more, it's a heavy, but we've got lots of nice images. That's when it goes well on Instagram. But it's just building up that library of images and making sure we've got the content for it. So it's definitely on our radar. I think we want to do it, but watch us at the moment.
Yeah, on the images, sometimes some of our images look okay. The ones that we put on Facebook or whatever, because that's where I mainly hang out. And others just look a bit sort of boringly corporate, and you sort of think, oh God, get a designer please, or funk it up a bit, make it look a bit nicer. To be honest, I think that, you know, this is the problem with council anything. We seem to think that it has to be, you know, sort of very corporate looking always, and that doesn't really do the tick the boxes in comms terms. Anyway, so I'm broadly supportive. You know, this is just noting how you're spending the marketing budget, which is, I think, is all fine. I like the idea. I mean, engagement is really, really important out there. Experiment, you know, trying different things, also really important. The one thing I'd like to see us do more of in our comms is promoting events. Well, I think Taunton Together is we need to heavily be promoting that now. There needs to be a lot more early promotion and reinforcement of this is the date, this is what it is, this is what's happening when. Otherwise, what will happen is what happened last year. Suddenly, lots of people say, I didn't know this was happening. And equally with events like, say, Sound of the Streets, which was this weekend, I think it was noted that there didn't seem to be a lot of town council. You know, we needed, I think, for certain events, especially where we're sponsoring, we're supporting. Not all of them need it. Like, you know, certain things like the flower show is so ingrained. Everybody knows it's on in August. But other things like, say, Sound of the Streets and stuff needs
devotion to duty.
You know, other organisations, like especially us, because we were supporting it through a grant, to kind of keep pushing it and do so in a kind of more determined fashion and do a lot more sort of promotion. That's what the feedback I'm getting. They would like us as a town council to do a lot more promotion of those sorts of key events around town. So if you can take that on board, that would be great.
Yeah, it's definitely something we'll be thinking about on the Taunton Together one. I think there's been some concern in my team about promoting it too early and then people thinking, well, that's in September, I'm planning on doing on Wednesday. And it just becoming something that flows by. But the promotion for that is going to be starting very soon. We met with the Taunton team last week to discuss the next steps for that. And it's definitely going to be coming and we'll be doing promotion and everything for that soon. The Sound of the Streets one, we did have promotion on our social media. I think there was at least one lead-in post and then one reminder on the day. I think what's probably missing is the people doing these events giving us promotional materials that we can get into shops. But we don't have that link at the moment with those shops to be able to do that. But I think the onus would have to be on them to give us promotional materials. My team don't have time to be making posters for these events. But that exact issue was raised to one of my colleagues yesterday, and she suggested working with the grounds team to come up with some kind of link for with businesses to do that. So it's on our radar.
Good. So I think we're broadly support. I was saying that to us to use our town notice boards more when we finally get them, because each of our park needs a town notice board.
Absolutely.
I'm hoping that will be
That's priority.
part of the marketing strategy there, because that helps connect with people who don't normally use the social media as well. Right, so we were asked to note and
Nick, I just got one, just one question. What happened to the idea about electronic notice boards? Did that?
it's a very good point.
Because once I remember we had a discussion about
Yes,
having
we
an
did.
electronic notice.
Approved it.
I think the company's planning permission didn't, they were still
Oh,
sort of
right,
council, and it might be superseded with this BT and putting a similar one in there.
Okay. Yeah, I just wondered, I just thought, you know. I wondered why it had kind of dropped off the list, you know, things. Yeah,
Yes.
sorry, Nick.
So members to approve the proposed allocation of the marketing budget for the financial year. I mean, we're not approving the budget, we're just approving how it's allocated. And approve delegated authority to the community engagement manager to agree any proposed spend against the proposals as detailed within the report. So that includes then going for spending the money on type form, was it, or true form?
Type form.
Type form. So do I have a proposer? Thank you, Councillor Strath. Do I have a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Ellis. All those in favour? All those against? Motion passed unanimously. We now need a proposer to extend for another. Well, let's just go for an hour. And a second. Seconder. Okay, I'll second. All those in favour? Okay, carried unanimously.
Relaxing.
Yes, right. And the next item, access to exclude the press and public. We have got 3 reports left that contain confidential and sensitive information. So do I have to read this out? Okay, so I'll just read out the recommendation. Under section 100A of the Local Government Act 1972, the public be excluded from the items of business, items 16, 19 and 20, on the grounds that it involves the likely disclosure of exempt information as defined in paragraph 3, respectively, of part 1 of schedule 12A of the Act, namely information relating to the financial or business affairs of any particular person, including the authority holding that information. And I just want to check, I said 19 and 20, yes, and I included 16. So I propose, do I have a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Strauss. All those in favour? Unanimously. Right, so